Heidi ho and good day. Welcome to this incredible milestone marking episode of Truckin City Journal. I am Boss Man, and I am eternally grateful that you could be with us on this special occasion. This marks the second episode of Truckin City Journal and the moment in which I crossed 500 subscribers. To all 500 of you, welcome to the best movement on YouTube. Thank you for being a part of the people in trucking that want to make trucking great again. Left to the powers that be, they say trucking is dead. We even have an audience member so dedicated to the cause, his screen name says trucking is dead. By the way, welcome in. But is it really? I mean, I have an issue with thinking that in that way. I really do. And today we're going to talk about an article I spotted that kind of highlights one of the main reasons why I think trucking has endless possibilities. And we're going to talk about that here on this last minute, an impromptu edition of Truckin City Journal. If I can get things to cooperate, today is no different than any other day. Greetings, truth seekers and truck lovers. I am Boss Man, the CIC of the United States of Trucking, opening up yet another talk show dedicated to helping you make trucking great again. We have a rather unique call-in show here. I make opinions known about popular news shows. And once that opinion is delivered, I open up the studio lines and give you an opportunity to call in and either challenge me on your beliefs or prove mine wrong. One way or the other, we have a news show where you get to be part of the action. And today I wanted to mainly focus on the fact that there are those out there that think this industry is in trouble. But then there's also the same group that is on the opposite side of that fence that say, no, there's endless possibilities. It's up to you what your future holds, not others around you. So I want to see where you land on that one. I want to hear from you. I don't want to know. Do you think trucking's dead? Or do you think we have a future? Before I dive into that, I want to get to a couple of headlines worth mentioning. Earlier, I posted on my Truckin City community post a warning about, guys, if you're driving through Tennessee, in or around probably the Lewisburg or Lewis, I think it's Lewisburg, around on I-24, nearing exit mile marker 89, there's a group of bandits up to their shenanigans again. They're actually slashing tires and disabling semi-trucks. It was sent to a group of truckers, and I received it. I'm passing it on to you. If you are anywhere in that area, there's a Love's Travel Center, okay? The Love's Travel Center and the parking lot adjacent to that Love's Travel Center have been subject to many reports of people coming in, slashing tires when truckers aren't looking. So far as I know, the report also includes that the local police department is investigating, but so far there's no information. You just need to be on the lookout if you're in that area. Please have your head on a swivel because tires are not cheap. Another headline in today's feeds talked about autonomous trucking company sues over 1970s safety rules. Trucking companies are at odds with federal safety officials over the best way to warn other motorists when self-driving trucks have become disabled and stopped on the highway. Companies say one thing while safety officials say obviously other things. They want their trucks on the road and they want them done as inexpensively as possible. So be damned with safety. At the end of the day, who's paying for the lost lives when this fight takes longer than the solution? Yeah, I say that because this is not the first time this article has been run. This has been fought for a while now. People just solve the problem. Get the damn autonomous trucks off the road and let's do trucking the way it should be. Hashtag just saying. DOT announces random drug and alcohol testing rates for truck drivers in 2025. Hold tight, folks. There's big news coming. The random drug test and alcohol testing rates remain unchanged for 2020 to now. So why then even put a report on it? Why waste anybody's time? In other words, Trump hasn't taken office yet, so safety aren't worried. They don't care. Okay, moving on. Anyway, that's my headlines to mention. Look, the possibilities for trucking, they're endless. I've got a unique perspective on it. And linked below is the article that talks about exactly where this industry should be going, and what my take is. So let's get to it.
Shall we begin?
From the headquarters of the Truth in Broadcasting Network, introducing Truckin City Journal and the El-Rushbo of trucking news, Bossman.
When it comes to trucking, guys, the possibilities truly are endless. We're diving into an ITS logistics report back in November. Supply chain report indicated, while it's clear our U.S. economy is holding its ground amidst inflation, labor market shifts, and monetary policy adjustments, we are still the lifeblood of this economy. Like, you had to read a report to figure that out. But are our policies and practices creating these opportunities, or are they holding us back? The independent drivers and small trucking businesses deserve more. That's my opinion, and that's what I'm getting from this article. And what about the next generation of truckers? Are we equipping them with the tools, the mentorship, and the knowledge they need? That's a question I want to raise to you, both in terms of the panelists with me and those in the audience. I want to ask you guys, what can we do to improve the future and make it as endless as I say it can be? From creating a regulatory environment that levels the playing field for smaller places, which I hope the incoming administration does, passing the torch through mentorship and assertive advice to new drivers, let's explore ways in how we can turn these challenges into opportunities. This report highlighted resilience of our economy, but it doesn't shy away from addressing persistent inflation, labor market cooling, and other economic risks. And while these challenges loom large, one glaring issue remains: our regulatory environment. It's not designed for us, meaning you and me, the independent truckers. The larger corporations right now have more resources and the wealthier pocketbook to put pressure where pressure needs to be. In the smaller businesses, we often find ourselves stretched thin, navigating complex policies and shrinking margins. So we need to advocate for regulatory reform to this new incoming administration that prioritizes small and medium-sized trucking businesses, simplifying compliance, offering incentives both in terms of business and safety, but also in far as taxes, and reducing the financial barriers that would only help those businesses survive, not only thrive, but thrive as well. The days of the small operators being the backbone of trucking and the good old days can be restored if we give these guys the tools we need. But that's only half the story. Bringing back the good old days is what I'm all about. That's what this channel's all about. So it's about people, you guys. The future of trucking depends on how well we nurture this next generation of drivers. Right now, there's a mentorship gap in our industry. My panel will probably agree with me. And if you're in the audience feeling the same way, I want to hear from you. I'm going to put up my studio line here in a minute, put it in the comments. Let's start the conversation. Less experienced drivers often find themselves navigating the complexities of a business they don't completely understand without the guidance or the benefit from hard-working and hard-earned wisdom from people like you and me. We need to step up. It's not just as truckers, but as mentors. Assertive advice, structured mentorship, and a community-driven knowledge sharing program can empower these new guys to achieve efficiency, productive growth, and confidence behind not only the wheel, but the new business ventures they start. When we share our experiences, we don't just help the next generation, we strengthen the industry. And that, my friends, is how you make trucking great again. So tell me in the comments if you agree with me. Are these regulatory reforms that could happen the way to it? And mentorship, are they the keys? Or do you guys in the audience have a better, brighter, or different idea? I want to hear from you. I want to start this conversation that's long overdue and that needs to happen. So let me ask you, as a business owner yourself, Thumper, how do you feel about the incoming administration and the possibilities being endless? You have a mute problem, buddy.
So the possibilities are already endless. If you
Okay, how do you feel that?
if you do your research and do everything else, instead of running off load boards and complaining about the rates and everything, get contracts. I say it all the time.
Yeah.
And is trucking dead? No. Do we have a skill problem? Yes.
Yep.
Specialize in something, you're going to get paid more. Simple as that. I mean, it's preaching to the choir. We've been talking about this for a while.
Well, sometimes you have to preach, and sometimes you've got to sing it over and over again, because really, honestly, repetition is golden. It really is.
Well, yeah, and I do understand that. And, you know, and you're up to 500 subscribers. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You know, we do have some newcomers here that, yeah, we preach about the same thing over and over again, but at the same time, it's a little different every time we talk about it. We get into a little bit more depth into it and stuff like that. And then I got one other thing for you. You said you wanted trucking to go back the old way, right?
I've always advocated for that. You're no stranger to that.
Here's how you get rid of the old way. Get rid of those things. I mean, these regulations and everything that they have on us, yes, they're for safety, and some of them are really stupid.
Yeah.
Like they could shut you down for not having DOT tape in the right spot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but when a truck is filthy, like got dirt and grime and everything over it, you ain't gonna see that tape regardless.
Now notice you brought that up. Okay. Notice they'll shut you down for DOT being improperly placed, or DOT tape being improperly placed on your unit or your trailer. But they'll sit there and take months and years arguing over autonomous trucks being broke down, whether they should be manned or reflectors or lights or the particulars over what happens. I mean, do you not think that is like, dude, if your truck is not able to run on the road, first of all, don't have it run by itself. Always have it manned. Number two, you know, it's gotta have safety first. I don't care what truck it is, whether it's manned or not. It's got to be safety first.
Yeah.
It's got to run. You know, that's my thing. That's you know.
That is exactly it. And then in your opening, you had said, "Oh, what if a truck disables itself? You know, what's going to happen? Who's going to be responsible for, you know, a death or something like that?" Well, I'll tell you this right now: people who drive trucks, who are responsible if somebody gets killed, the driver.
Well, it's always first the driver, but the person that owns the truck and the carrier is the one that bears the worst.
Yeah, but they don't get it as bad as the driver.
Oh,
if the driver
depends on how you refer to that, though.
Well, if you're
referring to the mental anguish, yeah, I could say.
Well, not just that. I mean, go back and look at some of these drivers who are pushed by their companies, and people don't know how to say no nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And they push and push and push, and they hit a car, and that person goes in the ditch and just happens to become deceased.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to blame on that? They're going to go after the driver. They're going to take his license away. They're going to throw him in jail. They're going to do this.
Yep.
They're going to do that. And all the big, the company, all they're going to get is a fine.
Yeah.
They're gonna still able to go buy a truck and throw another driver in it and keep doing what they're doing.
Yep. Exactly.
That's just the way the world works. It's
Yep.
always the lowest person on the totem pole, which happens to be the driver that
Exactly.
gets the worst end of it.
Yep. If you guys have an opinion that differs, changes, or believe that things maybe are a little different than what we're talking about on this show tonight, I urge you to call 860-785-3547, 860-785-3547. Let us know what you think about the future of trucking and the stories we're talking about tonight. I want to bring on somebody else. First of all, Thumper, before I go into another guest, tell us about your YouTube, any social media. Give yourself some credit, buddy.
Yeah, I got TikTok, that Minnesota Trucker Guy 91.
Mm-hmm.
And I got YouTube also that I've been slowly working on. It's kind of coming together.
Right.
Kind of want to start to get a little bit more involved in the YouTube and stuff like that. I kind of show you guys the side of trucking that a lot of people don't know, which would be the grain and hopper, the agricultural side.
Right.
And there actually may be some new content besides grain and hopper coming. So
good deal.
If you guys are interested in that stuff, come visit my channel and stay tuned.
Yep. Definitely. We will definitely put you back on here in just a moment, Thumper. We're going to move on to somebody with as much experience on past trucking and future trucking. Welcome to the show, Poet. I appreciate you being with me.
You bet.
And what are your thoughts on my opinion as a delivery? Do you have any opinions one way or the other in terms of the future of trucking?
I do.
All right.
After watching the dumbing down and the degradation of trucking over the last 45 out of my 54 plus years,
Mm-hmm.
we're at such a low point we can't go anywhere but up.
True that.
Okay. And that includes better training,
Mm-hmm.
better mentorship,
Yes.
making sure that new drivers know how to operate an 80,000 or 144,000 pound missile properly.
Yeah. I think mentorship goes a long way with that one.
Well,
really
I
do.
would love to mentor, and I'll tell you what, you can find me on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Blaze Alberts, BLASE, capital ALBERTS. If you have a question, sure, PM me. I don't care.
There you go. If
I'll
you're watching
find
this on
you.
the replay, you're certainly welcome to drop a comment underneath the live show once it's available. If you're watching us now live and you want to join the show, there's a StreamYard link in the chat pictured below. Certainly click on it and authorize yourself and put yourself to YouTube, and you can come up and chat here with the panelists. In terms of mentorship, I mean, you have been on the show with me a number of times, Poet, where I boasted that we need to change our ways with mentorship. What are some ways that you've mentioned, not only in the past, but currently, that you think we need to improve in that respect?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is if people would get on the StreamYard, okay, and if we have a show that deals with mentorship only,
sure,
and people can actually, well, you don't have to show your face, you can do it via voice.
Yep.
If you have a question, ask it, because the only question in this world is the one you never ask.
Yep. True that.
Okay. I'm
It's always
quite willing to
same thing.
mentor. I've been in all 49 states. I have touched my toes in 4 oceans. Uh, I'm here.
Yep.
Just because I'm retired does not mean I'm dead.
I hear you there.
Close.
Well, I'm gonna bring on a couple more guests, and we're gonna make a live show about this one.
So,
So
before you continue, I want to make a kind of an add-on comment to what Poet was saying about the training and stuff like that.
sure thing.
Really, in my opinion, with these automatic trucks, get rid of them. Get rid of automatic. The only way you should drive an automatic truck is if you got like a health problem, like you got pins or screws or an artificial knee. Learn how to drive a truck again.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's gonna make a big difference right there.
So
when you're shifting gears, when you're
so
shifting,
then you're
oh,
so then you're of the mindset that you think truckers are lazy now because of this
No.
automatic generation? Is
Yeah.
that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, because when you're driving a manual, you got to pay attention to the road. You got to pay attention to what gear you're on. When you're in an automatic, you just sit there and stare out the window. That's what you call a steering wheel holder.
Thumper.
Well, I'm old school like you, so in that sense, I agree with you. But the only thing I think you're going to get from the other side of the argument, Thumper, is this whole discussion over efficiency. Now, there are people I've spoken with, both on panel and off, that feel like the automatic transmissions of today are far more efficient with fuel mileage. How do you counter that argument?
All right, well, I could go get an automatic truck that is a 379 Peterbilt, just exactly like the same one I drive.
Right.
It all depends on how you drive. If you when I was on Hopper Bottom, I averaged. You guys would be like, crap. Well, I mean, I drive a hooded truck for one, and two, it's a flat top, so it doesn't really get the greatest fuel mileage.
Right.
But with Hopper Bottom, and that's with the Hopper Bottom with the same height as my flat top, the way I drove, I would get like 4.5 miles to the gallon. Now, on cattle with a 13.7, 13.8 trailer with a flat top sleeper, it's like pulling a freaking parachute. I'm averaging right around the 5.5, 6. It just depends on how you drive.
Right. Yeah.
Hopper Bottom, yeah, my foot was to the floor all the time. I'll admit it. I was in a hurry to get up to speed. Well, when you're pulling cows, you got to drive like there's an egg rolling around in the trailer. You got to drive really, really nice. Take corners slow, get up to speed slow down slower. It really, I've seen people take automatic trucks and get really crappy fuel mileage because they have a lead foot. It's not about the transmission. Yes, the technology of them has come a long ways. It's not the efficiency. It's all about how you drive.
True. Go ahead, Paul.
How much control do you have, Thumper? How much speed or transmission control do you have in an automatic as compared to a
Oh yeah, exactly. You get in a manual transmission. If you need the RPMs, you bring her down a gear. If you want a lugger for fuel efficiency, you bring it up a gear. I mean,
Yep. And
these advanced trucks with traction control and you can't really pick your gear and stuff like that. You get into a dicey situation, you're
screwed. Yeah. And this is why I'm asking, okay. Personally, I did drive an automatic for 6 months. I hated it, okay? I was not in control. I will take a 18
A lot of people, not to interrupt you, Poet, but a lot of people don't understand the nuances of how to operate an automatic transmission. Most don't even realize that you can change an automatic transmission to a manual and control the shifting yourself. And that's when they get in trouble. So
the one I had 3 buttons on the dash.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
D, P, and R. That's it.
But
You
the
can
thing is,
shift gears.
I've driven automatics before,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the couple that I drove was kind of like Poet said, you couldn't choose your gear. The other one, you could choose your gear, but it still shifted
Mhm.
when the computer told it to. I couldn't get the RPM out of it when I needed it.
Right.
And then when you're slowing down, it's the same thing. It shifts for you. When you need the RPM, the torque, or whatever, when you need it, you can't get it. You can't lock it in that gear.
So you
Right.
got no control.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
When
it's
driving,
real hard. The
driving,
best
man.
way.
I mean,
Well,
we're kind of getting off topic
yeah,
here.
we are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is with a manual transmission,
Mhm.
you're more aware of your surroundings. Your brain is more active. If
You're
you're
more tuned to the truck.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you're like I said, aware of your surroundings, everything else. You are more focused on what you're doing. Okay, you're in an automatic truck, it's shifting for you. I'll admit it. I've jumped in an automatic truck and I go to push the clutch down. There's no clutch pedal there, or I'll be slow. I would slow down,
You're jamming
reaching
your hip,
over for the
expecting.
shifter, doing this.
Yeah. You're jamming your hip, expecting there to be resistance, and
Yeah,
it's gone.
no,
Yep.
and that's the thing.
I've always said, and I think I understand the direction you're going in, Thumper, and I 100% agree with what you're saying. Knowing how to operate a manual transmission is the best way in which you can truly understand the vehicle you drive. And it doesn't mean you have to stay in one, but I think if more people on the road today understood what it means to take care of a truck and do so in a manual transmission, they would appreciate the manual or the automatic they have more when they get it. So
Well, I mean,
that
like,
goes a long way to good advice. Trust
I
me.
could drive for 18 plus hours in a semi. And I get into my personal vehicle, I can't make it no more than 2 hours because I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, you're fidgety or
I mean,
tired. Yeah,
you just get tired because all you do is just sit there, you're kicked back in your seat. Yes, a manual transmission, once you're going down interstate, you're doing that. But when you come up to a really nice steep grade hill, you got to reach over, bring it down a gear and everything else. So,
exactly.
I like,
There's
I
a lot of mental work there.
Well,
Yeah.
and I purposely, like, my personal vehicles, I try to find manual transmissions so I could actually, like, go visit my family 6 hours away because I can't make it more than an hour, hour and a half out of town, and I'm sitting there bobbing for apples.
Yeah, right. There you go.
And it's because I'm bored.
Yep. Let's talk to the other lone panelist on our group tonight. Larry, welcome to the show. Glad you could be with me celebrating 500 subscribers. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Good job, buddy.
Appreciate it. Well, you're part of that milestone, my friend. Let me
Number,
kick off.
quick question, real quick.
Go ahead.
Why are you bobbing for apples?
You opened that door.
I'm not going down that road because we're live.
And Poet, why are you wearing a safety vest?
What'd you say?
You're muted, Poet. Hold on a minute. Yeah, you got to unmute yourself, Poet.
Because it's nice and warm, okay, and I got the kitchen window wide open.
Aren't you in your home? You have to have a safety vest in your home?
It's warm. I don't care. It's warm.
He's trying to privately mask illegal activities off of the camera. Give him a break. All right, guys. Larry,
anyway, sorry.
No,
I had to throw that in there.
Yeah. Being the experienced trucker that you are, let me kick this question off in your direction.
I'm a rookie. What are you talking about?
Larry, shut up and listen to my question, will you? We're going to be back to $4.99 here in a minute. No, seriously though. When it comes to the future of trucking, in your opinion, if there was one thing that you could do away with in terms of regulations and trouble that comes our way with all the crap that the government does, what would that first thing be in the top of your mind?
Longer training.
That's not a regulation. I'm talking
I
about
would bring you
regulation.
one.
Well,
It is in Canada.
well, yeah, the MELT program. I know what you're talking about, but
Well,
I'm talking
I'm
about.
not talking about the ELD. The trucking company or trucking
No.
schools aren't going to teach you that. That's for the company to teach you that.
it's
Right.
called the MELT program. Has nothing
Right.
to do with your ELD.
I would love to see schools go longer than 2 or 4 weeks. What could
So
you
that-
possibly learn in 4 weeks?
And
Okay,
that's
so
what the
all right.
MELT
Now that you bring
program
that
is
up,
doing.
hold on, poet. Hold on, poet. Now that you
Yeah.
bring that up, what would you change about those schools, Larry? Other than just long, what would you change? Because you
Well-
already get 150 hours, at least
They
out of New
wouldn't
York.
be.
I don't know.
They wouldn't be training in an automatic truck either.
Well, you know, there aren't many those that do, but there are still a number of trucks out there that are manual that are used for training. So,
Hold on. I'm gonna poet. Can you mute your mic? We can hear your birds. Thank you.
yeah.
I'm gonna ask Larry a question now. Like, I understand where he's going with this, but I like
triggered him.
totally like disagree with the longer training. Yes, but do it with the company. The schools, no, because they are designed to give you your tools. But my question is okay, if you're gonna go to school to be a truck driver and it's longer than 4 or 6 weeks or whatever it is, how are you gonna pay your bills? Because you don't get paid while you're in those schools. Some companies do that, but if you're an average person that just graduated high school and turned 21, whatever the legal age is, you know, whatever, and they're going to truck driving school and they don't have a job set up yet, how are you going to get paid for longer than? I know I can't live off of 4 weeks.
Right.
I actually have experience.
I did.
You
I
got
didn't
a
hear you, Larry.
point. You got a point.
Okay. Well, I mean,
but the thing is, you're totally avoiding Boss Man's question.
yeah, because my question earlier was, what would you change about that school? I mean, making it longer is
not even
good.
that question.
But, well,
what regulation would you change? Not
yeah, okay,
yeah. The
Yeah.
current regulations that are in place right now. What would you change?
Yep.
You totally did a 180 and went the other direction.
yeah, right. Good point. I should hire you as my interviewer.
I would get rid of the dang ELD shit.
Well,
Stuff.
you'd have a hell of a fight because there's a lot of people in the industry that seem to think that managed correctly, the ELD is not a problem. Because
I mean, you think about it. You see your clock sitting there and everything because it's right there on your dash,
right.
and everyone sees that as a timer. They don't see it as a clock.
I actually,
They gotta raise that clock.
I've been dealing with logs so long. I actually now, because of most of my recent experience, I look at it as a tool. It's not a restriction. It's not a problem. It's there. We have to use it. But if managed correctly, it's a tool. So honestly, I think, and this is just my opinion, let me know in the comments what you think. Call our studio line, be part of the conversation. My opinion is if you removed an ELD mandate or changed it drastically, you'd make trucking more dangerous. I honestly think that would happen. You would actually hurt the industry.
Everybody would be outlawing it and driving whenever they want and then drive past their limits. Yes, we do that in the cattle world, but we have that thing called egg exempt.
Yep.
Yeah, but they do that now anyway. Even some companies out here on ELDs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying manual transmissions are the fix for magical fix. I'm just saying it'd be more.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody said that, but manual transmissions do help. And this is where I'm defending Thumper. manual transmissions do help with the theory behind driving efficiently. You know what? There are those, and he's not here tonight, and I'm not picking on you, Midlife. There are those that have been on my show that say there are things done with these automatic transmissions where today these trucks can basically shift better than we can. That I won't argue with. But what I will do is I will say that understanding the nuances of how to properly control your truck. No, forget efficiency in this argument, but controlling your truck comes down to how you learn. And learning on a manual transmission is far better. And I said that earlier. I'll say that now. But you're right. It's not some magical fix. No, it's not. But it certainly goes a long way to helping somebody understand how to drive, especially when you're driving in the stuff I'm currently looking at right now. This crap is nasty when it comes to automatic transmissions. Because if you don't understand how to control it, you're gonna wind up in a ditch.
Where was that stuff a couple weeks ago during Christmas?
Right? Exactly. It's what is it? 2 weeks too late? Anyway. So, all right, Thumper, what about you? What's your thought on regulation? The question I asked Larry. Obviously, it's not on board with the ELD, so what do you think?
No, it's not. I mean, it's kind of like I kind of opened the show with that I
DOT
said,
thing?
yeah, this stupid stuff like that. Oh, your DOT tape is faded. We're gonna shut you down for it.
Mhm.
Well, why not give me a warning so I could fix it instead of having to call somebody and cost me $500 to go put a piece of tape on that long?
To everybody watching, let me clearly state the obvious here. I hope that Trump, when he takes over and puts everybody in their places, enacts the same policy he had in his first term. And that is for every regulation that gets put into play, Congress needs to look back and eliminate two. And that's the purpose of this discussion. The reason I'm asking this question, because you know what? There is way too many regulations that tie down, as I opened my show with, the independent truckers, the smaller businesses, the less than 10 truck fleets. We have so much shit going against us. Taking out some of the most ridiculous stuff, like you just mentioned, Thumper.
Oh, I got another one.
Go a long way. Go ahead.
A license plate bracket.
Mm-hmm.
They could give you a ticket for that on the back of your semi. You're hooked up to a trailer 98% of the time.
Right.
And if you do not have, you don't have to have a license plate, but if you do not have a bracket,
mm-hmm.
they could shut you down or give you a fine or whatever they feel like doing.
Right.
It's the small piddly stuff like that could go away. That irritates the hell out of me.
Right. Right. Especially when they've designed holders that don't require those brackets. You can bolt them in independently and put them on your any place on the back of the truck. Doesn't really matter. But because it's not OEM and it's aftermarket, they're going to ticket your ass for it.
I'm trying to think of this past summer we had a driver get a fine because he had a cracked lug nut. It's like when we were sitting there looking at it, we didn't even see it. Like I kind of looked at the cop. I'm like, how did you pinpoint that out?
Uh-huh.
Like I didn't believe him that it was cracked until we took it off and actually like cleaned it up and everything. Yeah, he shut a truck down over a cracked lug nut. It's like, why not give me a warning so I could go get a new one put on it? No, truck had to sit there, call a service truck to put a $3 lug nut on.
Good Lord.
So $3 just turned into $700-800 for a service call.
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, ridiculous.
It's the stupid pity stuff like that needs to go away.
Yep.
I'm not saying that it's bad. I mean, yes, it's a safety thing. If they're all cracked, the wheel could fall off, and I'm not saying, but they need to warn us about it. When you get a warning in the world of trucking, it's on your record permanently.
Yeah.
So if you keep getting hit for the same thing over and over and over again, yes, there should be consequences.
Mhm.
Because now that I know Midlife is watching, he's going to kind of twist it to use it against me. So I kind of want to clarify a little bit. But
He's
like,
gonna
no,
do that. He's
no,
gonna
I
do
know
that anyway.
he's a good guy.
He is.
But
He
no,
does
I mean,
it.
it's the, do warnings, but don't let it affect us, but have it in their system. Like, okay, we've warned him about this like 3, 4, 5 times or whatever, and he still hasn't fixed it. Then it's time to do something. I'll stand for. But
Yep. Yep.
to shut a truck down over something stupid, and then I know somebody's gonna bring up in the comments too. Well, you should be doing your pre trips and your
Mhm.
post trips and notice that stuff. Okay,
Yep.
yes, you got a valid point on that, but
Yep.
when you got a white truck that is black because you can't see anything because you're running up and down gravel roads all the time, sometimes you overlook it. We're human. We make error.
Everybody has their moments of making mistakes. No one person is perfect. There are entities that are, but they are what designed us. And I'm not going to get into that kind of show tonight because that's not what we're doing. Think about the balance between corporations and people like us here on this panel. Big businesses and small businesses. Do you guys think the industry is too focused on the corporate side and just really lack the concern for what regulations currently exist and the future looking forward? Do you think they're more focused in the wrong direction? What do you think?
Well, I mean, look at what the trying to figure out how to word this because I know somebody in the comments might go off. I mean, I'm on one tonight. I don't know why, but
You just want to
if you
start some
sit
smack.
and look, let's use a very common name that is a corporation that is in accidents a lot. What's the first company that comes in your mind?
I can think of two, but the first one that hits my mouth is always Swift.
Yeah, swing wide. It's a trailer.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Anyways, so what I can't think of which company it was, but they would have new trucks.
Poet, you did not. Really? I am not publicizing that, but good Lord, my man. Anyway, to answer your question, Midlife, how much duct tape gets a warning? I don't know. Look back on my community feed. You'll figure that one out.
Right?
Yeah, that was a funny post.
There
But
was
no,
a guy. There was a guy that got shut down for having his whole driver's side window duct taped.
Yeah,
But
that was
that's
my
a
community
hazard.
feed. That
Canadian.
was
That's
my
a
feed. Yeah,
hazard.
that's what I was talking about. Yeah,
Okay.
and he
I
should have
mean, I
very well
use
been
I
shut down.
use I use 200-mile-an-hour tape on a lot of stuff, but
Yeah. Okay. So I
Not
was
an entire
just.
window.
no.
I was just answering midlife.
I mean,
Yeah,
you got 200-mile-an-hour you got 200-mile-an-hour tape, poverty chrome, man's best tool.
Yep.
I mean, it's got so many
Yep.
names to it, but anyways,
PB Weld. God knows other
yeah.
other things too. Yeah.
But
Anyway.
anyways,
God.
there was a company out there, and I can't remember where I read this from, and it's actually true. They would have like 5 or 6 trucks running around, and they'd hit up every scale.
Right.
And do voluntary inspections so they could get their DOT score up. And then the rest of their trucks were ratted down, everything else, and they avoided the scales.
They would only send the best trucks or the newest trucks,
But now
knowing
you can't.
exactly what it
Now
would
you
do.
cannot do a voluntary DOT anymore. You could
Yeah,
ask them to DOT. You could
they
ask them
completely
DOT
eliminated
you,
that.
but if they find any violations, they can't do anything about it.
What?
Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble. You're from my time frame there, midlife. Shame on you. You're making me look old.
That is a
Anyway.
Shut up.
Oh, that's right. Are you younger than me, Poet? Is that what you're saying?
No, the dinosaurs are calling them.
He made that comment already too.
Yep, I did.
So, all right, moving on to an even more intense topic. What advice would you guys give someone who's just getting started in trucking today? bridge that together with what we're already talking about. What kind of advice would you give them?
Really?
Well, I mean,
Think
come
about
on.
it
You've run
really
your mouth
hard.
about it how many times? What's that, Larry?
Think about it really hard.
Well, no, I'm
have
talking.
Like,
You know,
specialize
I'm
in
talking
a
about this whole
skill.
mentorship thing. I'm trying to approach it from that respect. Don't make me look bad, guys.
Specialize in a skill, whether it's reefer, dry pan, cattle, grain, Conestona, like
and
midlife does,
and
tanker. I
depending,
mean, specialize in it. Don't just. I mean, yes, it's not a bad thing to be universal in everything, but pick a skill, run with it for a while, and then while you're doing that skill, maybe train into something else too at the same time. So you could be a jack of all trades.
Always learn. That's my thought, and I think that's probably
Master
the
of none.
best. Jack of all trades, master of none. Exactly. Yeah.
and
Poet, what say you?
depending on the age, mindset, and the attitude. Okay, I've told people, don't.
What do you mean?
You know, well, your question. What would you say to somebody wanting to join the trucking community?
Oh, so
Depending
you're
on
are
their,
so are you then advocating to avoid it, or are you
it
saying something else?
it depends on the person I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Depending on
see.
his attitude, his age, her age.
There's
It depends on a
Yeah.
number of factors.
Yep.
Okay,
There he
I'm
is.
not gonna tell everybody no, but I will tell some people. You want to get into trucking? Don't.
There you go. Well, I mean, that's good advice. I mean, really, mindset is everything, and I've always said that mindset is
Yep.
100%. And really, if you're not shown the right way to do it, and you're not given the right start, you're at a disadvantage. So,
Yardstick.
but then exactly. The yardstick. Well, he mentioned that earlier in the comments. Midlife did.
I did.
So what you're saying, Poet, is we need to go back to the old days and actually slap people around to make them get the picture sometimes.
Risk reward needs to be replaced with what it currently is today. Now you're just pushed through. So I think there needs to be more risk reward in there.
I mean, honestly, the best advice I could give somebody if they're coming into the trucking would be, don't go to a corporation. Work for a small guy where you actually mean something to somebody.
Yes.
Don't be just a number.
I fully agree with that. Believe it or not, yes.
I'm just a number. I'm number 926.
Whatever you got to yourself.
Larry,
Super Trucker Podcast just joins us. Just starting. Get experience. Don't ruin your record while doing that, and then become an owner-operator. Glad you could join us on our podcast tonight, joining Truckin City Journal. Thank you for that great advice. Just starting, get experience. That is good advice. I appreciate that. Welcome to the show. If you've not already become a subscriber, I urge you to.
And if you go to a big corporation, or even if you work for a small company and somebody tells you to do something that you're not comfortable with, say no.
Don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Stand your ground. Your safety and other people's safety is more important.
Exactly.
You have the right to refuse unsafe work.
Yep.
You're the captain.
I do.
Have the duty, not just the right. You have the duty to not do.
Wait. I've been doing this trucking thing all wrong for 24 years.
What do you mean?
I'm just cracking a joke.
Oh, hell, I thought you were on to something there for a minute.
Really.
Thanks, Larry. Major disappointment. Think about it this way, guys, while we're on this whole topic. When it comes to the large companies, the thing you mentioned earlier, do you think maybe there should be more of an effort placed in mentoring or showing people, whether you're a large company or a small company?
Well, I don't know if Warner still does. I don't know if Warner still does that, but they still have the mentor program, or they did. I don't know if they still do, but when I went through, this is when I first started. They were my very first company I ever worked for.
Well, I can tell you back in 2012, they didn't have it because I was never exposed to it or introduced to it at all. All they did, of course, I already came into Warner. I was already trained, so I really didn't need training. So I already knew what I was doing. But you know, I don't think they had.
Once you got through your 8 weeks of training with the trainer, and then they assigned you a driver liaison guy to kind of help you along for the first year that you're there.
Yep.
Whether or not they still do that or not, that might be something to look into. If you're a big corporation, is bringing some of that back.
Boy, that dog wants to be part of this show. Something fierce, doesn't he?
Well, he was jumping on the back of this truck and he almost went through the diff.
Ouch. Yeah, not cool.
I mean, take for instance, tonight I had to call Thumper because my fuel filters were clogged. Right. I had to ask him a question about it. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm always trying to ask something or whatever for sometimes, but sometimes I try to figure it out, and if I can't, then I call somebody.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to call somebody to ask a question.
Nobody should be.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid.
Thank you.
I beg to differ. Didn't we have this discussion once, Thumper?
We're not going to continue it on my show. Thank you very much. Moving on. Super Trucker Podcast adds in there. Trucking is actually a very good and fairly fast way to get out of minimum wage rat race and get a decent living without having a rich dad. Well, I don't know about the whole rich dad thing, but I do know the rest of that statement is true. And yeah, I think a lot of people misunderstand
trucking could, as an employee, if you work hard at it, trucking could earn you $100,000+ a year.
I agree.
When I was a company driver, I've done it.
Oh, I did it as a company driver too.
The best money that I made, and I wish I would have never gave up that job, was I made $167,000 in 1 year. And I worked 3 weeks on, a week and a half off.
Yeah. See, I would find it hard to be able to make it in today's world with that kind of schedule. I mean, so I don't know how you did it, but you know. But then I'm an owner operator, so I see things totally differently. But Midlife says best advice is own the situation, quit complaining, and quit making excuses. But then I've heard you say that I don't know how many times, Midlife. You're always an advocate for quit your bitching, which I fully agree with. I mean, honestly, too many people today, I think, have an entitlement attitude when they get into this business. And that is one thing I would like to change, because you know what? No one owes you anything.
Don't think your voice don't matter, because it does.
True, it does. It does. That's the whole reason I have this. But by sitting there with the entitlement thoughts or beliefs and just complaining and not doing anything, and not, as Midlife said, owning the situation, you become part of the problem. So that's. Wait, I thought only Walmart drives me. Dude, you don't have to be a Walmart driver to make more than $100,000. Only, then you turn around and sue them, which gets you $35 million. Moving on.
I sue Walmart. Okay.
What's that, Thumper?
I said I just need to sue Walmart. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm still waiting for my paychecks from Walmart.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Using this for being a cashier there.
What do you think about today's drivers in terms of being ready and being properly prepared? Do you think they're prepared for the financial and mental stresses that we face on an everyday basis? Or do you think they're just not correctly told what it is?
No, they're not.
And what do you think we can do to fix it? I want to hear from those watching in comments. Tell me, what do you think we can do to fix that? Because you know what? There is a lot to trucking. And I can say one thing unequivocally. I have learned more about the industry the financial stresses, and the responsibility in the last 2 months than I've learned in 12 years. Now,
And
I'll
why-
get into detail in future videos why, but it's real easy if you put your mind in the right place and you ask the right questions.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
But like Larry says, there is no stupid questions, and I beg to differ.
Well,
Larry, it's the one you never ask.
well, that's the worst kind. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
But then again, you have me that works for you, and I did one question. But anyway,
Okay, there's two types of truck drivers. Let's just get reality about this. And we, especially on this panel, we've all been the two different types of truck drivers. You get
Okay.
the one where you just get your CDL, you're excited to hit the road, you think it's going to be a life changer and everything else. Your mind is in the right set that you're going to rock it and everything else. And then after a while, after doing this for so long, you catch yourself sitting in the driver's seat, sitting there pondering life choices. Was this a good career or anything like that? If you choose to be a truck driver, stick to it, get through the hard times,
Mhm.
especially mentally. You need to you really need to talk to people. And a good example is I kept a lot of stuff inside. I met this panel and I've become a lot happier with myself, especially being in a truck, because a lot of these guys, I have their phone numbers, and if I get into a bad mood, which two of them on this panel for sure, I call them and we talk it out, and then they won't hear from me for like 3 days because I'm in a good mood.
Yep.
Thumper, at the show,
Right.
please ask Bossman for my phone number. You can call me anytime.
Yeah.
Yep, not a problem. Look, one final thing I want to touch on, and I think this is a really good way to wind up a show like today. The good old days. I spoke of that in my opening remarks and spoke of the fact that we need to bring those back.
Do I need to go grab a log paper and tear it up again?
Nah. So I mean, in terms of trying to accomplish that, I mean, do you think we've got just too many modern day tools today, or do you think that we can actually bring people back to when we were living in the good old days and
You want
make it?
literally the serious note is if you want to go back to the good old days, everybody's got to enjoy what they do.
But the question is, what about the good old days are we looking for? I've said for a long time, the good old days in my mind are all about respect, which today doesn't exist.
No,
It's a whole different field today than it ever was.
It goes to that whole thing that I just said. People get unhappy with themselves, and they make other people's life a living hell.
Right. So how do we change that?
And cell phones, the technology has kind of ruined that. But you could sit there. I can remember back in the 90s when people still used CDs. The 90s and early 2000s. I mean, I'm not trying to make you guys feel old. I mean, I'm a guy, I will admit it. But that was the thing. When you were bored or whatever back in those days, that was before cell phones became very popular. You were on a CB talking to other truck drivers, listening to stories and everything else. That's what made your time go by. Well, now we got cell phones, so we're constantly talking to family. We're constantly doing this. We're constantly doing that. And you just don't pay attention to other people. And then you get into a fight with your wife or your girlfriend or your dad or mom or whoever.
Right.
And you get into a bad mood. And it puts you in a bad mindset, and you try to.
It can happen instantly, in no time at all.
And you put everybody else in a bad mood. And the other thing is, learn how to drive a damn truck. Because you can sit there and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna do 100 miles an hour down the road and blow people's door off. Where you got two trucks that are regulated or governed at 65 mile an hour. And it's the thing when I get behind those guys and you got one trying to pass another, I always call it battle of the 65 mile an hours. And then you get a guy who can do
It's
the
the
speed limit and get pissed
elephant
off.
races.
Yeah. Don't
Elephant
misunderstand.
races.
Don't misunderstand me, midlife. I'm not talking about respect for free. What I'm talking about is today's environment is totally different than the way it was even when I started. You know, we're not treated the same. We're not looked at the same. Yes, I understand respect isn't given, it's earned. I get that. But at the same time, when you lend yourself to someone and after 2, 3, 4 years, you get nothing in return, that's not an expectation I want to give or receive rather. You know, because I lent myself to 3 different companies the whole time I've been in trucking. And there's only one time in my 13 years where I actually feel like respect is a two-way road, two-way street. And it's right now in my current situation. I don't have to go out of my way to let people know I'm loved, I'm well liked, I'm well respected. I've got a reputation, I've worked hard to earn it, and people are recognizing that. And for a great many years, that never happened. So that's where I ask the question, where has respect gone? Because, you know, I'm not saying I'm the shit, okay? I got flaws and I got problems the same way everybody watching the show does. But when you work hard to earn respect and it's just thrown away like you're a piece of crap, that says too much. It really does.
To answer your question with another question,
sure.
What happened to common sense?
There you go. I brought that up too. I agree entirely.
It's about the same.
The generations nowadays don't do that because they were fed by a silver spoon.
Common sense is about as common courtesy.
We definitely have a trucking show here. The CB radio is for listening to Mud Duck in the desert and finding out who does have panties in the truck stops.
Do not get me started with Mud Duck.
Yeah, okay. So I wanted to add one more thing to your comment there, Sumper.
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You were talking about mental health. Another one that should have been included in there.
I have been talking about it.
But you didn't mention
Common
it by
sense
name.
is not only dead, they put a freaking gravestone on it. We need to bring it back. It really does.
Yeah.
Well, not bring it, because you can't bring back something that doesn't exist. But we do need to, I mean, strictly point out those times when, you know, like STP says, it's dead. Well, no, it's dead because people don't care. So we need to start.
We're past the CPR part. We need the paddles to bring it back.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, I got a couple of those. It's called a yardstick.
Last question. What changes would you like to see in the next, say, 5-10 years? Anything specific other than what we talked about? Let's look ahead. Possibilities are endless.
I'm not going to say anything.
Does it have to be regulations or anything along those lines?
No. I'm talking about the entire industry. You can talk about it any frame you want.
Make more mentors available to the youngsters.
I would like there to be more, and this is me talking, okay? This is my opinion, and I didn't write this. I'm just thinking this. My opinion, there needs to be more opportunities noticed by smaller companies. And there needs to be more assertiveness behind grabbing those opportunities because they are out there. The rates are on the rise. The industry is on its way up. People do need to open their eyes, recognize what they're looking at, and take command of the situation. Because too many people are living on easy street and don't realize what's about to head their way. What's your thought, Jumper?
Go to that guy first.
Larry, what do you think?
On what?
Of what I just said.
Oh, sorry. I was watching these two cars.
Oh,
sorry.
Well.
He's simulating.
Well, yeah. What do you think of the idea that I just brought up? That there needs to be more awareness given to these smaller operators that do nothing but sit, bitch, complain about there not being enough opportunities. Look at those that they're afforded, see them for what they are, and be more assertive and get your ass in gear and just take control. Get it done, just like Midlife says.
Well,
Quit bitching and get moved.
For instance, before I came here, I was working for Hurricane. I'm not afraid to admit that. I think I've mentioned it several times. And I came here because of what, the guy next to me.
We know the obvious, but the point being is you were given an opportunity. You were given
to change my lifestyle.
Right.
And,
you didn't
it's
waste
worked.
any time, did you?
No. Well, a little teasing here and there, but yes, eventually I pulled the plug, and I'm a lot happier up here. So, I mean, I have nothing but respect for everybody that does this side of the job now.
In today's economy and in today's world, it's far too easy to just pick up the phone, call the next mega carrier, and say, "Are you hiring?" That's the easy way out. It really is.
It's like you said, it's easier getting into the mega carriers before you'll get into a smaller company, though.
Or a truck on your own.
Right.
Yep. Paul, what do you think? You got to unmute yourself, brother.
I know. What do I think? I think it's all been, I mean, I'm like Larry, I'm a company guy.
Yep.
I retired over the Christmas holidays. I'm still waffling, but I am not going to go for my medical in February. So that's a done deal.
Well, in terms of recognizing opportunities and embracing change, what are your thoughts?
You know,
to the younger guys. I'm not talking about yourself. I'm talking about the obvious.
No. We all have to embrace change, okay? And I understand that. But a lot of the change over the last, I'm not even going to say years, I'm going to say decades, has not been the right kind of change. Why? This program, okay, Make Trucking Great Again, got into being. No, I am not embracing some of the changes that have happened because they're BS. And all we can do is hope to make it better and embrace that.
True. Very true.
And bring it back to the way it used to be, and not necessarily 54, 55 years ago, but even 45 years ago.
Well, everybody's impression regarding the old days, everybody's opinion and impression on that topic is unique. My vision of the old days is a lot different than yours, Paul. It's different than Thumper's and Larry's, Midlife, Super Trucker, all these. It doesn't matter who. Everybody's got a different vision for what the old days were, what it meant to them, and if it's possible to bring it back. So,
well, you wanna know something? You can sit there and say, "Yeah, I want the old days back," but let's have this conversation again in 20 years, and we'll sit there and say, "Hey, I remember 20 years ago we had it easy." The industry changes with technology. That's the way it is. That's the way the world works, and nothing's going to change. The old days are never going to come back.
No.
Yes, we want them to come back, but the one thing that could come back from the old days is everybody working together
and respecting each other.
Thank you.
And respecting each other.
That is a very good point. That to me is worth it. Never work for mega carriers.
That's the only way you're going to make trucking great again, is if everybody gets off their stupid high horse and start working together.
Yep.
Because, yes, there's drivers out there that really upset me because they're not aware of how long their truck is and they cut me off or something like that. Those are the people I don't give respect to.
Yeah.
But if I have another driver that I go to pass somebody and they flash their lights, which means, hey, you're clear to move over for the younger generation out there that doesn't understand that.
Exactly.
I give them respect.
Yep. Just like Midlife said, it's earned, not given. If you screw up, you know, you're going to be the first one told. Mega carriers, never work for them. You'll learn the most with the little guys in the shortest amount of time. Let's make trucking great again.
Right
Good
on.
point. Super Trucker Podcast.
The little guys actually do the one-on-one training with you, where the mega carriers are like, oh yeah, you're gonna ride with this guy for so long.
It's not even so much the
you're on your
training.
own.
It's not even so much the training. I mean, because beyond that, you get sound advice, you get quality experience. People like yourself, me, Poet, we've all been through it. We've all seen the mistakes that are possible to be made. So the best advice comes from some of these smaller guys. So to that, I fully agree. Look, when it comes down to it, the future of trucking is endless. We have a lot of possibility ahead of us. We have a lot of great things coming. One of the things I want you guys to know about is our future plans for shows. We are 500 subscribers currently and growing every weekend at around 7 o'clock, either Saturday or Sunday. I hold a Frontlines show similar to the one you're watching, but it's also a debate style show where you and others can get on and debate the merits of shows, of news, of thoughts, of common things that happen in everyday life with trucking. I urge you to look for that and be part of the growing audience of people that, like seen on the show at the bottom of the screen, want to make trucking great again. So, I mean, any closing thoughts, Stumper, in terms of making trucking great again? Thoughts of today's story?
Kind of today's story, yeah. A lot of people need to learn a lot of stuff. I'd like to see more people get into trucking. It's really not a bad career. Fate has said it many times where trucking is a great career. It really is. There's opportunity to make a lot of money. But the one thing that I would really, really, really would like to see happen, start working together. Start respecting one another. Earn that respect. And yeah, I mean, that's just it. And just kind of like how I end every other show. God bless troops. God bless everybody. Welcome to the show for the newcomers. If you're overseas and watching, thank you. This is our views here in the United States. We all appreciate it. We don't do it just for us and our families. We do it for you guys.
Well said, my friend. Every week, we come to you with the thought of helping to make trucking great again. I do this as characters that include Larry, Upper, Poet, Driving the John, Big Trucking, and also in the comments, the Grumpy Old Trucker, my co-host. During the week, 7 o'clock, on the weekend, 7 o'clock, look for us. Look for more opinionated podcasts from me, Paul Stan. We are here to help you truck great again, week after week. Until next week, that's another video. I hope you guys do it right. Stay